guys. Today's lesson, I want us to have a look at this challenge that I came across when I was looking for something to do this very morning, okay, which is a code challenge where it says we should reverse a string, okay. So as a beginner, maybe you don't have any idea of JavaScript, or maybe you are an intermediary person, you have little knowledge about JavaScript. I think this video is for you, the beginner, and then someone who is intermediate, okay. So there are a few steps involved to solve this problem. Like typical example is they just want us to, let's say if you have my name, which is William, they want us to reverse this William into M-A-I-L-L-I, then W, right? Sorry, W. So this is a challenge. They want us to give a function a value of, let's say, William, and they want the function to translate or convert or reverse my name into this kind of characters, which is Melu, something like that. Okay, so it's just like giving us let's say good, okay, and they expect the output of the function to give you what? DOOG. Simple, right? So how do we solve this? There are a few steps involved, okay. So as a beginner, I just want us to have a critical look. I just want to have a critical look at some few steps, but we need to understand a very basic thing before we can just go ahead. Every programming language, we all know that begins with something called a variable. So we're going to look at variable first and understand what the variable is, so that just in case you want to use variable, we all have a fair idea. Okay, this is it. All right, before we start going to the functions and what it entails, right? So someone will ask you what's a variable. Okay, so the simplest way I can explain variable to you is that you're trying to tell the computer that, please, I want you to give me a location in your memory, and that memory, I want us to store a value. So very simple, we can just have something like, okay, there's a keyword. When you want to create a variable in any programming language, there's a keyword. One of the keywords is called var, okay? Another one is called let. In JavaScript, another one is called constant, right? Constant, okay? These are the keywords, but today we will stick to one, which is the var as a beginner, right? So you want to tell the computer that you want to create a variable, you have to tell the computer, okay, give me a var. This is var. So once you set a var, what name are you going to give to the location that you wanted to create in the computer? It could be any name. So I can just put my name, something like that, just a name, okay? And you bring equal sign, okay? If we call it assignment operator, that tries to say, okay, what value are you going to put in there? I'm going to put my name, okay? So with this, you're only trying to tell the computer that, okay, I want you to give me a location in your memory. That location, I want to name it, I want to give it a name. That name is name, okay? Or we can just change the name and make it what? My name, okay? The location of the memory that I want should have a name called my name. And I want to put a value, and the value is this string, okay? So now that I have a string, we can still have another one, okay? We can still have another one with a keyword var. That's a keyword. Call it what? Number. Let's call it my number. Okay, and you assign what? A figure to it. It's 100. Okay, this and this are two different things. You can see that I put some quotation marks around my name, and this one has no quotes. All right, I put my name in a quote for the first one, and over here there's no quote. Okay, in JavaScript or in most of the programming language that we all know, there's data type. We call something data type. Okay, we call something data type. All right, data and type. Okay, which one of them is what? Number, and another one is what? String. So put these two in your head for now. There are more of them, which is Boolean and all that, but I just want you to have these two in your head for now. So far as this challenge concerned, so put these two things in your head, that we have a data type called number and a string. So this is a typical example of a string, okay? And this is a typical example of what? Number. So once I put this in the quote like 100, it's no more a string, but rather it's no more a number, but rather a string, because it's in what? A quote, like just like my name is in a quote. So just have this one in the back of your mind, that whenever you see quotes around any of them, that thing is a string, okay? And whenever you see no quotes around anything like this, then it's a number. It doesn't mean if I remove this from here, what is this? You can't call this one number. It's not possible. It's not a number. It will rather give you an error because we all know that these are just alphabet thing. So we still have to put what code here. All right. That is few that I can explain. Okay. So now that we have the fair idea how to create a container or how to create a memory allocation in our computer and put a value there, we can go ahead and just move to the next step where I'll be teaching you another logic, which is very important before we can solve this problem. So have it in your mind, at the back of your mind, that we will put William in a bucket. You can change this one. You can call it anything. You can even call it box, and it's going to work for you. Box. What you don't need to do is you can't start with a number. If you start with a number, let me take off this one. It's going to give you an error. You see, there's an error. You can't start with a number, but you can end with a number. You can say box 1 is very valid. Okay, and we have what you can call another one to var box 2, which is also going to have what 100, which is also valid. You understand? So you can start with a number, but you can end with a number. Very simple, right? Okay, so now that we have a fair understanding of how to create a variable and assign something to it, and just give it a value, simple. You can even declare a variable like this without putting anything. So like the computer knows, okay, you've declared that this box is going to be a place for, but there's nothing inside. So down here, you can come down here and just put, okay, give me box 1 and put this value inside 100, and it's also accepted. Okay, so you've declared this way of declaring a variable, and this is how you initialize. You put something inside the same variable. I hope it's clear. All right. Okay. So there's another thing that I wanted us to have a look at it. Let's say I want to display something like my name, like William, on the console. I just type William like this. What is it? We can say, okay, in JavaScript, if you want to display something, let's say console, you have to console, you put something console, which is an inbuilt function that we can just use console.log. Okay. We put something console.log. Let's say if you want to display my name, you just put this and it will tell you William, right? The same way if you want to put, let's say, you want to show, let's say anything, you can just display them. Okay. Let's say view, can display them, right? We display things with using console.log, right? It's an inbuilt function for JavaScript that we can just console.log something and it just appear on the screen. Okay, fine. Let's say if you want to this console.log, let's say my name 3 times, which is William. Okay, you want to console this one 3 times. What do? That means you need to duplicate this, right? You have to make a copy of this, right? Like if you want to duplicate 3 times, so just do this and do this, and you see you have my name 3 times on the screen. Okay, so how do we solve this problem? We don't want to be having this kind of repetitive thing. We don't want to repeat ourselves like 3 times. It's not good. All what we want is to display William 3 times, right? Okay, so there's going to be another logic or another thing that you're supposed to know, which is a loop. So in this lesson, I'm going to teach you loop, how to use loop to print this 3 times thing. Okay, so let me clear all this and let's start afresh. Okay, so to loop over something, I need to explain this to you. To loop over something, use the keyword loop, for loop, right? We have different loops, but we are going to use for loop for now. We have a lot of loops, which are for loop and I think while loop and all that. But today we're going to have a critical look at for loop only. We're going to use for loop to solve this challenge. So I just want to teach you how for loops work. Okay, so for loop, this is how it starts. Okay, and we have a block of code. This is how we start for loop. Okay, every for loop has 3 main things. We call something initialize, okay, in it, and we have another one called condition, right? Condition, and the last thing that you're supposed to know is update, right? Update. Okay, so this is what 3 things that you're supposed to put in your head. Okay, so how do we initialize? I will make sure I try my best to explain this thing to you because something initialize. So let's initialize. So we're going to do something like give me a var. That's the same trick that I show you. We are creating what a memory allocation. Okay, we call it I. Okay, and we want that I to have a value of, let's say, 1. Okay, then we have what a condition, like I told you. If this I, okay, if the same I is what greater or let's say equal to a value, let's say 5, okay, we want you to update something. We want you to take that I, okay, and we want you to increase it by 1. I hope you understand. So look at all this. So I said, what give me, you all know this, you already have an idea how this, remember what I when I was trying to explain the variable to you. So give me a var, which is what, box, and that box is supposed to contain my name, which is what, William. You remember? Okay, so look at this, it's the same thing that we have here. Give me a var, and this is the name, this is just like the box. Okay, but over here I'm trying to use I. Okay, so the same thing, you can just put I here and just put any value inside the I. Let's say 1. If you want to give I 1, it's 1, just like that. So look at this. Give me a container of I and put 1 inside I. So we said if that I is less than 8, okay, you see, if that I is less or equal to 8, and it's true, if this condition is true, okay, we want you to run the whole thing. We want this function, we want you to run this loop. Okay, so if you want to print, let's say something 3 times, you can just bring 3 here. Say I is 1. If that I is less than 3 or equal to 3, take that I and increase it to, and add 1. Just take that I and add 1 to it. This is the meaning of I plus plus, meaning take 1 and add 1 to it. That's simple. So the loop will go over. So inside the loop, if you say, okay, I want you to do a console, okay? I want you to do a console.log of a string of William. Okay, you can see we should be able to see that's missing semicolon. Where do I miss the semicolon? Oh shit, sorry about this. This is it. This is it. Yeah. This is it. Okay, sorry. So this is how it works. I'm not supposed to bring on semicolon here. Remember that. Okay, I was trying to explain this and my internet went, but okay, fine. So what I'm trying to say that have initialization of let I equals to 1. Okay, so if that I, which is 1, is less or equal to 3, okay, we want you to update it. Update the I, take I and add 1 to it. So in the first loop, I will be 1, which is what? This condition will evaluate to true because 1 is less than 3. So if 1 is less than 3, then we want you to print William on the screen. So it will print this one. And once it's been printed, then it will take that 1 and add 1 to it. So 1 will be 2. So over here, 1 will be 2. So 2 is 2 less or equal to 3. Yeah, it's true. The condition is true. If it is true, then it will print William. Once second William is being printed, okay, the update will take the 2 and add 1 to it, and it will be 3. Then to go back to it and say, is 3 less or equal to 3? Yes, 3 is not less than 3, but it's equal to 3. So this condition also is true. So it will print the third William. Then it will go again, and to take that 3 and add to it. And this time it will be 4. Is 4, it will increase to 4. Is 4 less or equal to 3? No, 4 is not less than 3. 4 is greater than 3. So it will stop and it will just jump and come back here. I hope this explanation is clear. So in a for loop, it will check the condition. If the condition is true, or if the condition is being met, then the function will run and it will just print this thing for you. Whatever value that you want, it will just print it for you. Whatever you put inside this block of code from here to here, it will happen for you. I don't know if I'm making sense, but that's the basic explanation that I can give you for now. That in a loop, it will check if the condition is true, then this will execute. So I just want to print William 3 times. I just need to put it in a for loop, and it just prints for. Instead of for me to duplicate this one 3 times, just put it in the for loop, and then you just print it for me. So in this challenge, we will be needing that. We will be needing this condition to do that for us. All right. So I hope this one make very good sense. You know how to declare a variable and know how to do some looping. So let's try and put all these 3 things together and see how, 2 things together and see how we can solve this problem. Okay. There's another thing that I wanted to show you to, let's declare everything for now. And there's another thing that I wanted to show you. Let's say we want to declare a variable, William, call my name. Sorry, we can't bring a space. Take note of that. So name, why I can't type what? Sorry, let's call it William again. Okay, so this very William, we wanted to know how many characters do we have in this William, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it's 7. But how do we know in case the character is more? We don't need to just go there and count it, but we can just use inbuilt function or a method. Okay, a method that can just use. So we can say my name dot what we call length. Okay, and it should be able to give us my name yeah, that's th. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, so we can just put my name dot length and to give, okay, I have 7. So the string has how many 7? So it's 7. I mean 7 characters. 1, 2, and we have 3, and we have 4, and we have 5, and we have 6, and we have 7. Okay. Sorry about that. We have 7, right? So just in case we want to add something to, let's say we add Williams and make it X, it gives me 8. So we can use this length to know how many characters we have in my name, how many characters that has William has. Okay, it's very simple. So this method, which is dot length, is very, very useful in this scenario. Okay, so have it at the back of your mind that I can put anything here. Let's say let's put good, and it will tell me, oh, good has 4 characters. So this dot length will give you how many characters do you have in this variable. You understand? All right. So I think it's cool. So now that we want to solve our problem, let me teach you another thing. In every programming language, there's something we call function. Okay. So in this case, we have to write a function. Okay. A function is just a simple instruction. Okay. Give it to the computer, which has an input, okay, and output. So whatever you give to the input, then you tell the function to just manipulate it and give you a different value at the output. That's just simple. So in this case, I will show you how to declare a function in JavaScript. Just bring the keyword function, okay? Function, okay? Just bring the keyword function. Then the name of the function is most important. So let's say this, in this case, we want to call it what? Reverse. An array, yes, reverse. Then we can make it a string, okay? Reverse string. Okay, this is how we declare a function, and it becomes like this. So this is the function keyword, and this is the name. This name can be any name, okay? This name can be any name. So this is the first thing that we have to do. We tell, okay, give us a function name called reverse. I think that makes sense. Give us a function name called reverse. I think I've made a typo in reverse. Yes, there's a typo here. Okay, sorry. Let's reverse. Yeah, this is how it's supposed to reverse. Okay, so I said reverse, then string. See, I can see a kind of case here. Make this one uppercase so that you use it to reverse and a string. Okay, so we are trying to reverse a string. That's the function. And how do we call a function? Let's call this function by copy the function name and come down here at the back of the at the bottom of the function. Just call it. So this is how we declare a function, and this is how we call the function in JavaScript. This is it. Most programming languages are you declare a function and then you call it. So as it is now, this function has nothing. There's nothing inside this function. So whenever you call this function, it will not give you to give you nothing. Of course, it's going to be nothing for you, right? So it's going to be very simple. Let's in case we want to make this function work. Of course, we need to argument, and there's something we call parameters. So take note of these 2 keywords very well. In every function, if you want every function to accept input, okay, and for you to for the function to manipulate the input and give you a results, there are 2 things involved. You need to to tell the function, if you're supposed to allow the function to take what we call argument or and what a parameter, so that it will use that parameter to manipulate whatever you want the function to do for you. All right, so let's take a critical look at this this parameter and this argument. All right. Okay. So up here, you put anything over there as a parameter. So we can say str. We can put in here str as what? A parameter, as a parameter. All right. And then we use that parameter to do our manipulation. Parameter is just like an input. So take this one as an input. I wanted to bring my drawing tool. Where's my drawing tool? I think this, I don't know. I was trying to look for a drawing tool. Yes. So let's take this one. So this, take this one as an input. Okay. Sorry about this. This is the input. Okay. Okay. So this one accept input. Okay. And then take that input and do something. Okay. So let's say in here, you want to just display whatever you give to the function, which is going to be, okay, I want you to console. Let me clear everything so that it will be easy for you. Good. Let me close it. Okay. In here, I want you to do a console. Okay. The log of str. Okay. Of this. So in here, if I put William, we expect, take note, whatever value I give to this as an argument, it comes here and then it just proceed with this instruction that I've given. I've given this function instruction that I want you to print whatever you see over here. So this is the input, and input will be accepted here as a parameter, and take that parameter and just print it out for me, because that's what I said. I said print it for me. So just print it. So if I type, let's say, yeah, my native name, which is Kwejo, of course it's going to print Kwejo for me, because that's what I've instructed the function to do. I've instructed the function to just take any name and print it for me. That is what is happening, right? So I think it makes sense that it takes, you give an input, the function will take the input and manipulate it and do whatever you want it to do. All right. So it's very simple. Let's say I want the function to add values for me, that it should take this string plus the same str. Okay. That means this function, if I give this function 9, it's going to be taking what? 9 plus 9. If I give it 1, it's going to be 1 plus 1, which is going to be 2. So whatever I give to the function will accept it here. And whatever instructions that I've given to the function, by using this plus sign, which is another operator, it is, oh, okay, you want to add them. So to take 1 and add to 1. Simple like that. So in case I have another string, for say str2. Okay, let's call this one str1. Okay. And over here, I said take str1 and add it to str2. So over here, if I said 1 and 10, what do you expect? 11. So you take 1, which is str1, and take 10, which is str2, and just add them, and you have what? 11. I hope that is making sense. All right. Okay. So the same way, we wanted our function to reverse our name. Okay. So the way it works is a little bit trickish, but let's maintain this. Let's clear this and have our str, which is a string. Okay. What I'm going to do in this function, first thing, is to declare a variable, which that variable will be empty. You remember, you can declare a variable without putting any value inside, like I showed you. So we can say, okay, give me a var of a new name or a new string. Let's call it a new string. Okay. And then, sorry, a new string, which is going to be equal to empty. So this is empty. There's nothing inside this string. Okay. Now that I have an empty string, now we need to look through the input. Don't forget that our input is what? William. Okay. So now our input is William. So we need to go through this William and what? And manipulate it and just reverse it. So how do we do this? Okay. First thing, we have a new what? String. So down here, we can say, give me a for loop. Remember the for loop? And this is how we declare a loop. Okay. This is how we declare a loop. So let's say this loop has what? A variable, which is what? Which is, let's say, I. which has a value of, let's say, let's say a value of, let's say, 7. You understand? Just want you to have a critical look at this one. We have a value of 7. Okay. If that value of 7, which is the I, okay, is greater or equal to 0, okay, if that condition is true, then take that I and subtract 1 from it. I hope you're catching the trick. Is I greater or equal to 0? If it is true, then take that I, which is 7, which of course is greater than 0, and subtract 1 to it. So the next time I is going to be what? 6. Right? I is going to be 6. Don't forget. Then I will be 6 for the first time. Then I will jump back to what? I. So let's see. On the first note, I will be what? 6. And the second time I will be what? 5. Next, 4. Next is going to be 3, 2, 1, then 0. So when you count this, okay, when you count this, you should be able to have your 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You should be able to have your 7, which is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, you understand the concept? Okay, so I just want us to comment this, okay, and then I want to explain something to you before we continue. Okay, another thing that I want to explain to you before we continue. All right. So let's say we have a value, okay, a var, which is what? My name. I'm sorry that I'm taking you back, but that's how it's supposed to be, which is a string of William, okay, which is this thing is bugging. Let me pause it and then this thing is bugging. I'm back. Okay, so like I was saying, I just wanted to, I want you to have just another knowledge about how string works and how we can grab this William. So I'm trying to display my name again by using the console.log of this name, okay? And I have the name here, right? So I want to show you one technique, okay? If I want to target only William, I mean only W of my name, okay? This has something we call index, okay? All of this thing has index. I was trying to explain it up there for you when I was using the loop, okay? So if I want to target only the W, okay, I have to bring my bracket open and close and just bring 0. It starts from 0. And now, see, I'll grab what? W. If I change this to 1, I'll grab what? I. And so on. If 2, you see what I'll grab? And if 3, I'll grab the second L. Okay, you see how it is? And 4, you see? And then 5 will give me the A. Okay, and the M will be what? 6. So in total, it's 7. I don't know if you can get a trick, right? So all of them have something we call index. All right. So this one has index of 0. This one has index of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So whatever number I put in here, okay, I'll get the value. It just pull the value for me to just display the value based on the index. I hope it makes sense, because we will be using the same techniques to pull out all the characters in my name and just flip them. That will give us the reverse of my name that we want. Okay, so I just want you to take a critical look at this, that whenever you bring bracket, okay, and you put an index which starts from 0 to the length. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I add another one to it, like S, of course, it's going to be 8. So when I put my 7 here, it will give me the last digit, which is what? X. Last character of my name, which is X. It's very simple, but very tricky. But know that every string has an index starting from 0. So within this, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So if I want to grab any value, I can just bring this bracket thing and just put a number of the index of that character, and I'll just get it out. So that was a quick recap for you to grab before we can continue. All right, so now let's go back to our function again. Let's go back to our function and our the problem for the day. Okay. Oh, it's I instead of one. My bad, my bad. Sorry. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let me explain this one more time. So I said, okay, I want to create a variable. We all know how to create a variable and put 7 inside. So this variable is 7. So is 7 greater or equal to 0? Yes, 7 is greater. So if 7 is greater than 0, then we want you to take that 7 and subtract 1 from it. If you subtract 1 from 7, it will give you what? If you subtract 1 from 7, it will give you 6. You understand? It will give you 6. So when you count William, it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to give you what? The last one. The sixth value will be here. Okay. So now inside the loop, there's only one thing that we want from the loop. Okay. There's only one thing that we want from the loop. Okay. Okay. So this loop, have you seen this container that we've created over here? Let's grab this container here and bring it here. The container has no value, but we want to put a value inside this container. So what do? We bring the container here, and we will tell the container that we want you to put every value from what the string str, which is, we all know that str is our name. str is our name, right? Then we can just bring that, the trick that I showed you down there, that we bring this bracket thing and put what? A value, which is what? 1. So if you put 1 in this box, or let's say we put 0. If you put 0 in here, it means that the string, which is the same as the William down here, will give us W. I hope you're making sense. Okay, if you don't believe me, let's try and do this. Let's go here. Let's put, let's return. I think we can use the return keyword. If you don't know this return keyword, I think you will later get it. I mean, it's nothing. Later I will explain to you, but we are trying to return whatever happens here. You understand? Whatever goes in here, we just return, trying to return this. Okay, so we said take this value, okay, and update it here. Okay, so you see, we say William, because it's in the loop. It's in the loop, so it's going to give us William. Okay, but we will fix it. So let's say if you put 1 here, what is it going to give us? How many times? 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to give us 7 times of it. I hope you're getting the drill. So this is what is going to happen. So instead of putting dynamic, I mean static number here like 0 and 1, we will be putting the I. Okay, we will be putting I. So if you put I here, because we've given it a static number here, which is 7, which is not supposed to be so, but we should be able to give what? The length of the William. So if you say the length, if you want the length of the William, then we all know what to do. It's going to be what? str.length. Subtract 1 from 8. I will explain why we need to subtract 1 from 8. Boom, and we're able to reverse it. I will show you why we need to subtract 1 from 8, because when you say dot length, it gives you 7. It counts from 1. You understand? When you say dot length, remember, when you said dot length, it counts from 1, 2, 3, 4. But already we have what? 0. So we need to subtract 1 from 8, so that we can get. We need to subtract 1 from it, so that this 0. Guys, in this scenario, okay, no matter what, we need 0, right? Because our index starts from 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once it's starting from 0, of course, that means we need to reduce the length, which gives us 7, to 6. Okay, so that it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we did not reduce it by 1, because we need 0 as an index. So the first step, the first value that we will grab here will be 7. If it is 7, then we all know that we will grab what? M. Okay, then 7 minus 1 will be what? 6. It will go to A. That's why we have A here. I think I can bring my drawing. Sorry. Where's my drawing? Okay, here. Here we are. Okay, you understand? So the first stage, the first loop, okay, I will be what? 6. And when we come from here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means this guy, M, will be what? 6. M will be 6. So M will be here. Then the update, okay, will take the value of that I, which is the 7, and subtract 1 from it. This is the meaning of subtract 1. So if you take 7 and you subtract 1 from it, now the value will be what? 6. So when you count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to be 5, sorry, because initial stage it was what? 6 minus 1, which gives you 5. I mean, it was 6 minus 1. So it was 7 minus 1, which gives you 6. Now it's going to be what? 6 minus what? 1, which will give you 5. So it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this will initialize here. Okay. Then now 5 minus 1 will be 4. So we can count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I will follow, right? That's how it is. I will follow. Okay. Then 4 minus 1 will be 3. It goes on and on and on. So we are trying to reverse. We're trying to reverse William. So let's assume that we want to put different value, whatever value you put over here. Okay, it will work. We don't need to go back to the condition and change, or we don't need to go back to the initial value and change, because they're using what? Length to pull the value. So let's say we put, let's say good G-O-O-D over here. It's gonna work. Okay, because we don't need to put this, we don't need to go through and count 1, 0, and we don't need to go 1, 2, 3, 4 and put 4 here. We are just using this function or a method. We call it method.length to pull whatever, check the length, and when you check the length, subtract 1 from it, because index start from 0. Okay, because index start from 0. That's why we have to subtract 1 from it so that we can get the correct value. Because when you count this one, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, if it is 4, but if you're counting from 0, it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, only 3. So we need to subtract 1 from the 4, which is here. Subtract 1 from the 4, so that will be 3. So we can get what? 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You understand? So we can get 0, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, we can get 0, 1, 2, 3. Meanwhile, it's 4. I don't know if you understand. You're getting the understanding of the whole thing, because if you don't subtract 1 from the length, it's going to be what? It's going to give you the 4. It's going to give you 4. And if it is 4, of course, there will be issue. So let's take one, and you see we have error. If you take this, there will be, the first one will be what? Undefined. Of course, it's going to be undefined because you're trying to take the whole length, including 0, because index starts with 0, because you're using the index. You're pulling string by the index. So the first time, this one will be what? This one will pick the first value, which is going to be what? The 4. And we don't have 4. Because it's 0, 1, 2, 3. So over here, there's nothing here. It's not 4. There's no 4. So that value will be what? Undefined. So we have to subtract 1 from 8 so that it will be perfect. I hope it makes sense. So now we are done reversing any value we put here. We reverse it. Let's say we put love. We can reverse love. Very simple. I hope this makes sense. I don't know, but this is how I'll be able to explain this to you. You can watch the video over and over to understand all, but I'll be coming out with more of these kind of tricks, and you'll get a full understanding. It's better you get what is happening in here, then later you can use a method that you want to use. There's a simple method that you can use on this, which is also very, very simple. I don't know if we can try, which is called reverse. Go over again. Let's try to tackle it once more. Okay, so we all know we declare a function with the function keyword, then we give it any name that we want, then we have to call that function. The function accept argument. Okay, so I mean the function has to accept argument, and then we call it one parameter. Okay, we receive the parameter here. This is what parameter we receive it. Once you receive this parameter, whatever you want to do to a parameter, you have to do it. So over here, we are just looping through. We call something for loop. We're just going over the characters. Okay, so we said, okay, if the value, if the we declare a variable called I, and now I is supposed to have the length of the parameter or the argument over here. the length of my name here, okay, -1, because index starts from 0. That's why we have to subtract 1 from it so that we can get the correct value, okay? So that's what is happening. Then we have a condition that if that I is less or equal to 0, take that I and subtract 1 from it, reduce the value so that the second iterative to be 6. So if it is 6, the first one will be 7. If it is 7, then it's going to pull this one because it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. The second one to be 6, so 6 we put A, okay, and so on and so on. And by doing so, we will get to reverse any string that we give to this function. I hope this makes sense, and I'll come out again with a different solution. Thank you guys. Peace.